Don't blink, it's your blink. Welcome to the show. I'm guys are doing well because I'm having a wonderful day. Today, we're doing a little bit of a talk where we're eating pistachios, we're having fun. These are unsalted pistachios. We added a little bit of adobo spices to it to get a little bit of oomph. Today, we're talking about a subject which is why receiving gift on TikTok, on other platform, made me feel uneasy. I have an amazing community, right? Although I don't make enough or nearly enough to really have a lifestyle through TikTok, I still have a lot. I think that's super generous. But every time that I receive a gift, I feel the need to say you don't need to, and there's actually a really good reason for that. When I was really popular, people thought I was faking. Oh, he pretended like he doesn't want a gift. Here's why receiving gifts makes me uncomfortable. So first of all, I'll talk about why people gift on TikTok and on other platforms. It's like when you gift, you tip your barber, you tip your waiter. It's a way of saying thank you for your services, right? But it's more than that. When it becomes a friendship, when it becomes a kind of like a relationship, the person's like, yo, you bring me joy. You're my friend. I care about you. Here's a bit of help, right? It's just a super nice thing to do. And ultimately speaking, it is. You see, there's two ways of saying it. Either it's my way of helping you, or this is personal support. I don't care how much you make on this platform. I want to help you out, right? Which is really nice in both cases. But it feels like sometimes it's forced. I know a lot of content creators. I know a lot of them who will pressure you into gifting, right? And that because of that, I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with asking for a gift. I'm never gonna ask for a gift. Even when I'm receiving, I'm like, oh, dude. I hope this is not learned behavior from other content creator. So technically speaking, other content, you go to see another person live. Another person live, they're asking for support. They're asking for support. They're asking for support, and you're so used to giving support that when you go see another content creator, it just feels normal, right? My mentality. Because an act of kindness has now became a new norm. You're not doing to be kind, you're doing it because you think you have to. Which is why I'm uncomfortable with that. But then, even if you feel like you have to, then there's purpose. Well, I feel like this guy gave me some content, so I'm gonna say thank you, and I feel like the way to say thank you is by gifting, right? However, my biggest problem is on only one platform technically. This only one platform is TikTok, and I'll be quite honest. TikTok is possibly the platform that is the easiest to grow on. It's possibly the easiest to get to make a living on. However, I love the platform. I love doing live on the platform. I to be honest, sometimes I prefer making live on TikTok than on Twitch, and those are the two only platforms that I use for lives, right? Now, why is the issue? What is the issue with TikTok? Well, I think we have to go at other sites. So YouTube was one of the first social media to really pay for the post for your content, right? To pay its content creator. But then when YouTube did that, other people had to follow. So for example, Instagram, the way they do it is it's really nice. Instagram will get you like so what you'll do is Instagram will. It's kind of nuts when you think about it. It is so freaking smart. Instagram. Okay. Oh, dude. So I'm talking to a girl, right? And she's English, from Britain, and she was saying, "What you want to see from content from me?" And I was like, "I want you to teach me how to make fry up and mash and bean, because it's a typical English breakfast, right?" And it made her happy. So, oh yeah, if she's happy, I'm happy. It's little things like that. So, oh fuck, I didn't even check. We're good. We're good. So, Instagram will do is, which is super interesting. Instagram, the way they do it is very interesting. Instagram won't technically pay you for posts. They'll pay you for some posts. But what they'll do is they'll do a algorithm and they'll push their top content creators. So, for example, you'll see a person like, I don't know, I'm gonna be old school. I'm gonna go with the Kardashian. And they're gonna have a big Instagram following, right? So then what they're gonna do is they're gonna say, hey, well, there's also Instagram Live where you can gift, but financial wise, this is where I'm trying to go, and this is where I'm gonna go a bit of a couple minutes, and a bit of time. Instagram will do is they'll say, well, this person, this content creator, is online with your brand. Their content would be really appropriate for your brand. Their content and the way they act and their interests really aligns with your brand. So they'll facilitate talk between the content creator and companies. So you get sponsored, right? And that's thanks to Instagram. Now, technically speaking, if the content sell, and this is smart, if the content sell on Instagram, then Instagram's gonna get more sponsor. You understand? This is the way it works. So then there's other platform, which is Snapchat. Snapchat is one of the platforms that did it the best. So Snapchat understood that it's a chatting application, right? So they're chatting. But then when you're waiting for someone to answer your chat, what they're doing is they're gonna put story. So Snapchat is one of the apps that's paying the most of content creator. What they're gonna do is they're gonna put ad. What they're gonna do is, this is fucking smart. You don't understand how smart this is. They put an ad, okay, and they force you to do a minute video. Because they force you to do a minute video, you can upload a 20-minute video. You have to cut it at one. They'll do it for you. So then you'll watch 3 minutes, you'll watch 2 minutes, then you put an ad. So you're putting an ad just like YouTube does, but more aggressive. So there's more ads, but because in between you're texting someone, in between you're doing something, you don't mind as much. A video that will take you 20 minutes to watch will take you 20 minutes to watch because, again, you're texting people, right? So Snapchat does it really well. Other thing, Twitch has a really good program. It pays peanuts. It pays shit. It doesn't pay good. However, Twitch has a really good program. You can have subscription. You can have bits. You can have well, the thing is, which is super cool, with subscription, there's actual like benefits to it, right? You'll get special sticker and shit like that. But subscription is really a way of saying, I fuck with you. I fuck with your content, right? And then you'll have bits like, you know what? I may not be at every single stream, or I may not watch you every single month, but here it is, right? And Twitch, no matter what, regardless, they'll give you a ad revenue, which is, I think in 4 years, I have made $270, but I stream to one person or 0 people most of the time. That's still pretty good. And you see, YouTube, you know, the ad revenue, the super thanks. Super thanks are also great because what they're doing is, for example, I have 1 million comments, right? Example, I have 100,000 comments. It's more likely, and I'm not gonna answer everybody. Well, if you have a super thanks, the content creator is more likely to answer the super thanks. And now, if you have a bigger audience, then a lot of super thanks, like, well, if it's under a certain amount of money, I can't read it, right? Which is fair. It's dependent on the content creator, it works. Now, my problem is directly with TikTok. TikTok, you see, TikTok makes it fun to gift. Really fun. For example, they'll have Heart Me. So the Heart Me is a way of showing support. Like, hey, you've been part of the team for this amount of time. It's a good way to show. So, for example, a Heart Me you'll buy it every single day. It's a cent. And the Heart Me will register. So, for example, this person has given you 323. Let's do 355 Heart Me. Next time they're gonna give me a Heart Me, it's gonna be a year of support, you know? Like, okay, well, you can see that. It's also really cool animation, the way they do it. There's really cool gift. And what they're doing that's really cool is they're constantly changing their gift galleries. So whenever you gift, it's completely different. The problem is, and this is a very unique problem because it's typical of Canada. So in Canada, you see, it's tough. It's tougher. Because in Canada, there's no revenue for content creator. There's no creator funds. There's one in the UK, there's one in the USA, there's not one in Canada. So all of your revenue, all of the TikTokers that you see that are Canadian, the way they're making money is through battles, and they're making gift and gift and gift and gift. Now, those people that make a full-time living out of it, doesn't matter how good their video are. And this is why we're creating lazy content creator. Why are we creating lazy content creator? Why would I do a video if I'm not getting paid? Now, technically, to me, this is not true because I also do YouTube. So if I do a video, like for example, this video that I'm doing right now, you think I'm gonna be exclusive to YouTube or TikTok? No, I'm gonna put it on both. I'm gonna grow my following on TikTok and then I'll get more followers on YouTube, which will pay me. See? That being said, this is important. Pistachio with edible rice is the shit. I'm not really picking up the taste though, which is sucks. Kinda sucks. This is so good. My problem with TikTok is you're making more money than a lot of other platforms. You're not paying the content creator depending on where they are in the world. It doesn't make any sense. So my problem with receiving gifts, and this is very hypocritical. This is very an hypocrite. You can say that in English. No, like Two-Face. Okay. If I was receiving gift on Twitch, I would say shit. If I was receiving gift on YouTube, I wouldn't say shit. The problem with TikTok is I shouldn't be getting money from people. I should be getting money from the company first. Imagine if you're a waiter. And I'm gonna take this example, and you can agree with it, you cannot agree with it. I don't give a fuck. This is how I think. You're gonna go to a restaurant, right? And you're gonna serve your waiter, and you order food. Your waiter is super kind. Your waiter is super kind, and they're really giving you a good service. Like, holy shit, you know what? This guy, this woman, gave us a really good service. We'll tip them really well. And then you receive the bill. And then on the bill is a small note from the restaurant. That said, our employees aren't paid. They entirely rely on tip. That doesn't make sense. Now, what's gonna happen is a waiter will do less money. A barber will do less money. So, and tip will come and balance it out, you know? Which is cool. But the reason why, and again, I'm having a really big problem because it's kind of dirty. Not a lot of people know there's no content creator fund. So when I started, see, so this is the truth, right? Put on the table, you can dislike it. This is the truth. I wish I didn't say it, but I have to say it. When I created my TikTok, it was just because I heard it was easier to grow on TikTok. So the plan was to grow on TikTok, and then it would transfer to Twitch. It would transfer to YouTube. If I'm being completely honest, and this is something I shouldn't say, but I don't give a fuck. The plan was always YouTube. Even if I started to stream on Twitch, the plan was always YouTube. Why? Because I knew YouTube, right? And it was just the simplest. So streaming on Twitch was a way to grow on YouTube, and TikTok was a great way to grow on YouTube. Then Twitch grew up really quickly. My Twitch, which is insane, my TikTok, sorry, which is insane, is the first month I had 1,000 followers. From what? I'm uploading Elden Ring content. I was getting more views on my TikTok than Twitch, Instagram, and YouTube together. Like, okay, well, this is the way to grow. So I made a lot of effort on TikTok. Then, you guys know what happened. I left my job, my boss retired. And my boss retired, and I was like, okay, you know what? I still want to do Twitch. Then I got really popular on TikTok. In 4 months, I gained 4,000 followers. Right? Maybe reached 5,000. And I was like, you know what? Let's reward people. Let's start doing live on TikTok. I was bored. I had free time. I still have free time, by the way. But it was more so like I didn't have a lot of, people. It was cool because Janice was there. Janice was like, dude, I'm gonna be there for your first live. My first live I had a mod where I trusted. It went really well, you know? And I was like, I got a lot of people. I was like, holy shit, this is kind of cool. I had more people and 15 minutes of TikTok live than I had on a 4-hour stream. So of course. And then the channel grew. The channel grew at 6,000 and 7,000 and 8,000. When I reached 8,000, again, me being honest, when I reached 8,000, I'm like, when am I gonna get rewarded? And then, this is something I never talk about. Because I didn't want to talk about it. I don't like talking about money. The reason why... Okay. The reason why I don't like money is because I grew up in a family where I was always told life is expensive. You know how much we worked hard to get that food. We know, don't leave the lights on. Every time you leave, it's some stupid shit. Every time you turn off the light and you put it back on, it's 10 cents, which is not true. But I grew up with a very cheap father. My mom was very generous. My mom was making less money, was more generous than him. But it was always a problem with money. It was always a concern. Growing up, I was like, well, I grew up poor. I didn't care. Now I have money, and I kind of care. And the worst thing is, that was a point of contempt for my father for a while. I was mad at him. I'm sorry. Oh, so good. I like my supper. My father always told us, hey, and we'll all be like, Dad, are we okay with money? Are we poor? I'm probably we're poor. Never really answer. It's like, oh, that's rude to ask, that's rude. I'm like, oh shit, I'm sorry. Didn't know. So, for the first 16 years of my life, I thought I was poor. That's when I realized that, no, my father had money. He was just saving it. He was just smart with it. Now, it happens because when he was young, his family mechanics or situation was also very poor. One of the first jobs, he was the firstborn of the family, so a lot of the money that he sent, he had to send back to his family. My mom, the same situation. My mom very generous with money, very, very generous with money. And this is very personal, so very generous with money. I'm very spending. Like, okay, well, you know what? I'm gonna enjoy money because I'm alive. And it's always spending for others. Like, she would buy me a game I would come to my mom's house every 2 weeks. And she would buy me a game almost every 2 months. I don't know if you noticed, but that's 6 times 80. That's $480, you know, per year, right? That's a lot of money for what? For a game that I barely played because I was there 2 days out of 14. How much can I play those games, you know? And was always being generous. My mom knew how much I loved KFC. She would eat bread. She would eat bread because she couldn't afford more than that with KFC. You know? But then something happened to my mom. She had a boyfriend. They got into a huge fight. The house was in his name. And he told her, get out. I don't care where you sleep, but you're not sleeping here tonight. And my mother, that's a true story. My mom, at 59, 60 years old, was in the streets. Now, she had a place to stay. She's good. But then she was like, never again. So she started stressing. And she went to buy a condo, so she borrowed money. And she bought a condo at 60 years old, which is not a good thing to do. Why? Because 60 you're supposed to start to think about your retirement and about your pension fund. My mom, she bought a new home, which was $400,000, you know. It's a little cash. you know? So, it's a lot of fucking money. She's not even done reimbursing it. She's 67. And she's not even done paying back the bank, you know? So yeah, so I always thought I was poor. And I always grew up with people needing money and needing money. And I was like, I want to be the one guy that don't need money. Because I'm not going to let some piece of paper rule my life. Right? Which is why when I have money, I'm okay. But when I don't have money, I'm okay too. You know? It's always the question of how you handle things. You can be happy with $2. You can be happy with $20. Right? And now with $2, what can you buy? Well, you can go to the dollar store and buy fucking ravioli. Buy a bag of chips and a drink and have a little snack. With $20, you're gonna do what? You're gonna go to a restaurant, order a burger. It's gonna give you one meal, right? For $20, you know? That's how you spend your money. And you have to be smart with money. Remember back to the discussion. I have a hard time with a platform completely refusing to pay their content creator. Now, technically speaking, why am I okay with other platforms but not with TikTok? Well, because other platform, you're not solely reliant on people giving you money. There is a professional. There is in French we say entrepreneur. In English I would say there is. I used to know this shit. I thought about this before. Kind of like a paycheck, but from a company. Your shares of the market, if you will. Your share of the money that you made them, you know? It's like a partnership with a company. You allow me to use your website, upload videos, we share 50-50 or whatever, you know? I don't have a problem with that. And then if people want to help, then they can help because I'm not reliant on them. If people give, I'm grateful. They don't give, I don't need it, right? TikTok, like, dude, you have to make money. And then it's kind of nuts because people, they don't have a clear salary. They don't have a normal salary. So when they do that, they're like, okay, well, what are we supposed to do? You know? Well, I'm going to be live more often. When the problem with being live more often, and this is the crazy part, because trust me, I watch a lot of French Canadian. So again, the way TikTok works is I'll give you, I'll recommend some content creators that live close to you in your vicinity. So I live in Montreal. They'll give me content creators that are from, there you go. What they're doing is, and that's stupid, when they don't make enough, they go live more often. Because they go live more often, they get more gifts, right? But then, they get gifts from people. So 1 month, well, I did 400 hours in a month. Is that possible? No, that's not possible. That's not possible. How much is that? That's 25, 24, 7, that's 148. No. I'm not good at math. 724. That's 168. Yes. No, it's 188. I need the calculator. Come on, you know this. 7 times 20, 140. 7 times 4, that's 28. 140, 28, that's 168. You're good. So I would go live for, I might go live for 168 minus 8 times 7, which is 56, is 100, because you need to sleep, right? And I would go live for this amount of time, and this is the most I can do. I would go live from waking up to going to sleep, and I would make some cash. And technically speaking, the people who are gifting me are the same people, because they're my community, right? And the next month, I'm like, fuck. I'm still short, so I'm gonna go live as much, and people are gonna give me. And after 5-6 months, well, the person's like, I don't have money to give you. And you're like, well, I've been live for so long. TikTok is not paying me, so what am I going to do? Well, you have to figure out the plan B, right? And that's tough. TikTok, you're going to have months where you're doing really good. That's social media. You're going to have months where you're doing really good. You're doing let's say 3. There's no money involved. There's no amount of money, but let's say 3. You understand why. Let's say we're making 3, right? Next month we're really fucking well, right? I made 5. And I spent a lot, and I spent a lot, and I spent a lot. The next month, I don't know what happened, I got 1. So now I'm 3, which I kept. Spent some of it, so let's say 2. I got 5. I spent a lot of it, which says 2, and now the last month I have 1. Are the leftover from the first 2 months enough to cover that month? No, so I'm fucked. You understand? That's pretty much it. So I don't believe in a total crowdfunding, because and also, so this is gonna be a bit of a magic breaker, and it's gonna be something that you're not gonna like to hear, but somebody has to tell you. The people that are making money on social platform are not gonna leave, right? So the problem, they're not gonna stay. So the people that see this as easy money will stay for 10, 20 years, and they'll ask for money for 10, 20 years. So because they need money to survive, they need money to eat, to have a rent. If there's no like company money, it's only crowdfunding, it won't work, because you're gonna ask money from people for 10, 20 years, right? There's this guy, and I watch him. You guys know him, DSP. He's been making content for 17 years. And if you look at his views on YouTube, it's 1,000 views per video. Like 1,000. You know how much that pay? That's $5 per video. Let's say he posts 10 videos a day. That is how much? $50. Let's say he does that the whole week. No, he takes a day off too. He does 6 days a week. So 6 times 50 is 300, right? Now add it to your months. That's 1,200. Can you make a living out of 1,200? No. So what you do, yeah, crowdfunding. That's his leftover, right? That's pretty much it. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. But then again, the thing with content creation is, well, if you're not happy, don't do it. If you're not happy, do something else. If you're not happy, find a job, right? See, it's the same thing as a painter, same thing as an artist. Do you honestly think that a production house of a certain CD, like for example, I don't know who's your favorite musician, let's say the GOAT, Mac Miller. I miss Mac Miller, so let's talk about Mac Miller. You think Mac Miller was paid hourly? No. You think he was paid monthly? No. He was paid royalties, absolutely. It was paid by the album sold. The production house had some profits, but some of these sales went to him. So for example, they were selling the CDs $20, and he was making $8, $9 per CD sold. Sold 100,000. That's $900,000. You know. But then, and that's a lot of money. But then you have to make it last. Because if you don't write for 3 years, if you don't write for 2 years, you don't produce. Well, if you have to pay for your scripts, you have to pay for studio time, right? It's crazy. It's crazy. You know? And that's pretty much it. Anyway, long enough video. Love you guys. Take it easy. Peace.